Ladies and gentlemen, Charles with Serbia Weekly here. We're here in Belgrade, Serbia. And, you know, one thing I wanted to do in my show, you know, I'm going to be interviewing Kia Kockar, Sloba Radanovic, some of those folks, but I also wanted to bring up organizations and folks who are actually making a difference here in Serbia. And I just recently found out about this organization here called NURDOR. We're going to find out a little bit about it today, but this organization really touched my heart. I volunteered in Mexico for a year and a half and worked with kids with no families. It was one of the biggest life-changing things. When I look back at my life and I see things that really changed, that was something that changed my life. And this organization right here helps families with kids with cancer, kids that are first diagnosed, and even if they unfortunately pass away, the organization is still there for those kids. And I want to meet this young lady here. She's going to tell us a little bit about this organization today and tell us what this is. Young lady, what is your name?
Tamara.
Tamara.
Yeah.
Tell us about this organization here, NURDOR. What does that actually stand for?
Yeah, first of all, thank you very much, because being aware that it's important to talk about organizations like NURDOR is really important for us, and we are always thankful when people who have a word to spread, they come to us and they want to talk about NURDOR. It's really nice. And so the beginnings of NURDOR are actually in 2003. There were 6 parents of children who were diagnosed with cancer at that time. So there were 6 young people who had to fight like the most extreme and the hardest battle of their life. So the life of their kids was threatened, and they faced no support. And it was really unbelievable, and it was really, I mean, if I say hard, I have a feeling that it sounds really soft.
Yeah, sure.
So they faced this, and the fact that there was, as I said, any support coming from a social community, the lack of support which was necessary from the state, from people who are on some positions to decide on something, to improve the conditions in Serbian hospitals. It was really bad, and from that moment they decided to change those things. So that was the motive, and that was the reason why NURDOR was founded. 6 of them, they started like really like gathering together and just talk about this, what were their problem at that time, and it was really so spontaneously that they figure out how to help other parents who came after them with their kids. And this is really something that I admire. These people, they're in NURDOR even today.
Really?
15 years later, they're still here, and they're actually the board of NURDOR, even if they don't like to be called like that, but we had to put it in some frames. So they are the board of NURDOR, still those parents who were the founders. And why I admire them, really, it's the fact that even when their battle and the battle of their children was over, they really decided that no other parent and no other child in Serbia should go through this alone.
That's beautiful.
And it's so inspiring, and really something worth to admire and to follow.
Certainly. So this stands for what? How do you say that in Serbian? First of all, this acronym, is that what that?
Yes, NURDOR are actually the capital, the first letters of each word. So it's called Nacionalno udruženje roditelja dece obolele od raka. Each first letter of each word, it's actually the name of.
And that would be, to translate that into the English language, would
it would be National Association of Parents of Children with Cancer.
With cancer.
Yeah.
Oh. When it comes to a child receiving services from your organization, how does that process work? When a child, when a family finds out their son or daughter unfortunately has cancer, how do they get in touch with you? How do they know about you? What's that process for enrolling or getting assistance from you folks?
Now it's pretty much different than it was, for example, 10 years or 5 years ago. Now each department of hospitals where there is a center for treating kids with cancer in Serbia, all of the staff, they know about NURDOR, and we are really happy to cooperate with all the medical staff at these hospitals. So usually normally they are the first contact of a parent when they find out about the diagnosis of a child. So if there is a need for them, for example, to be accommodated somewhere, if they don't have, they're coming from some city far away from Belgrade or Novi Sad or wherever the kid is treated, if they don't have a place to stay, they contact NURDOR for accommodation. If they have need for psychological support, they contact us to talk with our colleague who is a psychologist. Anyway, he goes, I think it's 3 times per week to different departments in Belgrade to talk with families. We have workshops which are specially organized for parents. Each workshop is dedicated to different subjects, so they can talk with doctor, with nutritionist, with dentist, with parents who were in the same situation and whose kid is now healthy young guy or girl. That means a lot to them, and it's really something that parents, when we receive a feedback from parents after their kid finishes the treatment, they always say that this was really important for them to have someone who was already in their shoes and who is now good, because when they receive this when they found out about the diagnosis of their child, the world is
like hopeless.
The world stops. Yeah. So they don't see anything positive. They don't see any light. They don't see any chance to feel good. And then it's really important that someone comes to them, especially someone who was already in that position and who is now a happy parent. So when they see that, it really gives them some significant hope and motive, and they feel like there is understanding on the other side. So we are really in a constant contact with parents and with kids who are treated on these hospitals, and it's something that really means a lot to them.
So this organization, you mentioned it briefly there, you provide like psychological support and housing once again. So if somebody from Pirot is sick, they find out their son or daughter has cancer and they need to come to Belgrade, your facility provides free, like where we are right now. This is what's called like a safe house.
Yeah.
So the parents can use it. All this is free of charge, correct?
Yes, it's completely free of charge. It's called actually parent house. Yeah, that was the idea to name this project. I think it was started 8 years ago. Today we have 5 parent houses in Niš and Novi Sad, and 3 in one in Niš and Novi Sad, and then 3 in Belgrade. We can accommodate up to 60 people in these houses, and the accommodation and transfer from house to hospital and back, because kids need to go to therapy each morning and to come back, and they should never use public transport because of possible viruses and everything, and taxi rides would be too expensive. So they also have covered. We also cover transport to hospitals and back, and it's completely free of charge.
That's
so as we know, we had some average of how much the accommodation of one family costs in each house. It's around 100 to 150 euros per month. So this is something completely covered by donations. So it's really important, and it's really important for people to know that, for example, when they pay NURDOR around 100 euros. We have donations, for example, monthly of 100 euros. It covers the life of one family in one parent house for 1 month.
So beautiful. And even here in this country, if somebody from the West is watching and they hear $150 a month, people are thinking, what? That's not that much. Mm-hmm. But here in Serbia, that is a lot. Especially when your son or daughter, you've got that added stress. You got to take time off work. Mm-hmm. Average salary here in this country is what? 300, 400, 500 euros a month.
Yeah.
So something like that is significant. What else besides the accommodation, the transportation, the psychological help? What else does the organization do for the family?
We have, during these psychological workshops that we organize also in parent houses, we organize volunteers who are specially educated young people who come to parent houses during the workshop while parents are having this 1 to 2 hours to talk with different experts and to ask what they want to know. These volunteers are spending time with children. And
really?
This is also really important, and I must say that it's important for the kids, of course, but it's really important for these young people who are coming to parent houses. Sometimes they are a bit frightened and they're worried about how will this affect them, and will they be sad after that, or will they be crying, or they will not be able to resist to those bad emotions.
Yeah.
But always turns out the other way around.
Really?
They always come out like happy and so fulfilled with some incredible life energy which comes from these children.
Yeah.
They're really amazing small human beings that are really like the catalysts of positivity, of some good vibes, of courage, of some life shining energy. That's really amazing, and we are all really grateful to have this time with them. And that's why I'm saying that for these young people who are coming to volunteer for NURDOR, and after some time when they pass through some educations and then talks with our psychologist, and if he how do I say it, if he says at the end, after some tests and after some talks, that they are able to work with families, then the second step is that they really come in touch with families and with children.
Do they have to be certified or anything like that? They do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And they always really appreciate this. At the end, it's something really amazing.
And you said you started out.
Yeah.
You've been with this organization for how long, did you say?
For almost 10 years, 9 years, yeah.
And you started out just as a volunteer, you said?
Yeah, I started as a volunteer during my first year of university. I saw on the TV there was some sketch, some news about NURDOR. It was actually about the 15th of February, which is the International Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and they were talking about bad conditions in hospitals, about lack of support of the social community for these kids and families. And I remember that I saw one of the ladies of moms who is now also in the board of NURDOR. She was talking about this, and I really felt some kind of instant connection with them, and I really had this feeling like we need to do something. I mean, why are we so quiet when this is happening? Like we can, why should we like sit aside and not do anything? I mean, it's always a kind of criticizing the people who are authorities and government and everything, but if we wait for them to do something, it will be too late at some point.
Certainly.
So I gathered 6 or 7 of my closest friends at that time, and I told them about this idea and that we need to do something. We didn't know what at that time, but like, let's approach them and see what will happen. Yeah. So today we are all still, I mean, I'm now working actually for NURDOR, and all of my friends are still volunteers of NURDOR, and it's really something that I'm really proud of. I mean, even if my life path was completely something different, and I was in some corporate world where there was not much contact with this kind of work. At the end I ended up doing this, and I'm really also really grateful for this, and really happy that today I can be a part of this life-changing and world-changing story. That's really my honest opinion and feeling is that this is what are we doing.
That is so beautiful. And even me, when we heard about this, you know, when you think about going to an organization that deals with kids and cancer, even to me, when we walked in, I thought, oh, this is going to be a depressing place. Walk in, I've never seen such a buzzing atmosphere. You've got volunteers everywhere, people throwing everything, smiling and happy. I thought that was so beautiful. What was everybody doing? You've got packages and they're getting things. What exactly were they doing down there?
Yeah, well, we are preparing the 15th February. We are organizing events in, I think, 35 cities in Serbia. So almost everything comes out of the office in Belgrade. We are organizing everything here, and we are sending to all of 35 cities.
Wow.
So it's really a lot of work, and it's in Belgrade office, 4 of us who are the staff of NURDOR. So it's obvious that we need the support of volunteers. And these incredible young people who are coming each day. Like they're here for I think now almost 2 weeks. Every day they're in the office with us, like from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. I think they're here all the time.
Kids.
Yeah.
And something else I noticed on the wall, you have some pictures that were colored from kids. One stood out because it was in English and I can actually understand it well, but it was from a young lady in Tunisia that wrote this big, long, thankful how wonderful it was and all the connections she made. So you said you get a lot of volunteers for international students coming here too, right?
Yeah. We have a good cooperation with a lot of students. Organizations in Serbia, and they're doing a lot of this exchange of students. Then when they come in Belgrade, they offer them like, where would you like to go and to help the community and to volunteer, and many of them they end up working with us, and those are really interesting experiences, and also very inspiring periods in our work, when we have actually people coming from Tunisia or from Australia or from America.
It was Australia painted. You know?
This one was actually painted by our volunteer from Australia. So she was here, and then this is something that she left in Serbia after her visit. Yeah, it's really something amazing, and the message that you saw from her name is Ru, and she came from Tunisia. She's, I think, the first year of medical school in Tunisia, and she was here, I think, for 1 month. It was her and then one young lady from Bosnia, from Sarajevo. They were together here for 1 month, and they were, I think, 3 days per week. They were with us in the office, helping and they learned from us, but also we learned from them. Yeah,
that's a beautiful combo. Really nice. One thing I wanted to mention earlier too, and forgive me if I'm incorrect here, didn't somebody say this organization also, if heaven forbid the child passes away, this organization is still there to provide emotional assistance. A lot of organizations, once something like that happens, it's over. But you guys continue support, correct?
Yes,
if that were to happen.
That's correct. We noticed that what you said. I mean, we also had some kind of feeling that it was not up to us when something like this happened. It shouldn't be up to us to approach these families and these parents, not because we didn't want that, but because we felt that we are not experienced enough or experts enough to know what to do in those kind of situations, because it's really something, the worst thing that can happen someone in their lives. But at the end we noticed that there was no one actually taking care of these people when something like that happens. They just stay away, like in some other world of what's happening, like in our presence. So our psychologist, together with his colleague, they started learning and studying from some foreign researches and books about what to do and how to help, how to approach, and how to work with families who had this loss. So I think that the trainings were for 2 years or something before the first camp that they organized. It was in Divčibare. It's a small mountain place in central Serbia. We got free accommodation also for, I think it's from 10 to 20 families that we know. We had them in our base. We knew that they had lost children. So he contacted them, like our psychologist, and offered them this kind of support. So they go for 7 days to this camp. It's called the Hand of Hope, Ruka Nade. It's said in Serbian. They go for 7 days and they have constant and intensive workshops where there is always 3+ psychologists working with the groups and just like helping them to open and to talk about this and to learn actually how to handle this kind of pain. Wow. It's really, I mean,
people take advantage of that. You said 10 to 20 families, you know.
They really take advantage of and it's something important for them because when you just stay with the closed up with this pain and you really don't know how to handle this. I mean, no one ever told you how to handle this kind of situations, and everybody just leaves them with that.
You tend to avoid someone because you just don't know what to say, what to do. So that's absolutely phenomenal. I think that's one of the best things about this organization.
It's really something that we are really, really proud of, and that's certainly going to continue in the future. And I think it's even going to upgrade and to improve, because the team of psychologists who is working with that, they keep studying and they keep like spreading their knowledge about this and sharing the knowledge with other people. What I forget to mention is that we have like a twin association of this kind in Bologna, in Italy. And we are constantly receiving all kinds of support from them, and also in this regard.
Same?
No, it's called AGEOP. It's this Italian acronym, I think, of this. I think that if it wasn't for them, NURDOR, I mean, would be founded definitely, but would not be what is it today. They have more than 20 years of experience. They also built a hospital in Bologna, and we actually we studied a lot about them, and we learned a lot from them. They also have parents whose kids were treated with cancer, and a lot of volunteers and a lot of people who are actually employed in their research center in Bologna. They made it all by themselves, and it was really a great inspiration for NURDOR, and also great opportunity to bring this to Serbia. So they're also they have a team of psychologists who are also helping us and helping us to get to know and to familiarize actually how to approach to all of the people who are involved in the childhood cancer. It's really important to know this, because sometimes when you have the best intention and when you really want to help, you can do more harm, because you are not let's say trained, or you're not you don't know how to handle all of those feelings that you have. So it's really important to have someone to to guide you and to teach you actually how to do all of this.
I thought it was also amazing when you mentioned some of the volunteers here currently, all those young people down there. Some of those were kids that the organization assisted. They suffered from cancer, they overcame cancer, and they're still part of the organization. I think that's phenomenal. And you mentioned a lot of the kids, they don't forget you. They stay part of it. And tell us a little bit about that. I thought that was really interesting.
We have a lot of families and parents and kids who were treated with cancer, who are now volunteers of NURDOR. And it's when I first heard about these stories, I also thought that it was really something from another planet or something so amazing. But then when you get to know them and when you spend time with them, since the moment they for example, they enter this parent house, you're here with them, and you spend time and you learn from them so much, as I mentioned, when the volunteers spend time with them. So at the end, when they finish their treatment, and when they need to go from the parent house, they really feel like not going. It's
they
so
stay. You're like family.
We really look and feel like a real big family. So it comes natural for them when tomorrow they are in the chance to help someone else. It really comes natural for them. It's not something that they need to put a lot of thinking about and a lot of motivation and to motivate themselves to do that. It really comes naturally.
They feel, I have to. That's so great.
And a lot of them they go to medical schools, they study psychology, and they really stay devoted in their life to help others, and it's really something so great. Like you are on the very source of good energy, and it's really. I have to mention that 100 times that I'm really grateful to have this opportunity to be with them.
It's so nice to hear somebody actually say that. You wake up every day and you come to work and you know you're making a difference and you feel good about it.
That's the point.
Other thing I wanted to mention here recently, with donations, one of your proudest achievements, you were able to build a hospital, correct? And where was that located? Tell us about that.
It's a new Oncological Department of Children Clinic in Niš. And I mean, we need to call it department because that's what it is. It used to be one hallway in the clinic with, I think there were 2 rooms, and it could accommodate up to 8 patients. Now it's a brand new building inside the clinical center of Niš, and it has over 800 square meters. It has 2 floors, 2 playrooms for kids. It's now there's now a possibility for kids actually to receive the chemotherapy while playing inside the playrooms. Each room has a bed for a parent. Each room has its own bathroom. I mean, now I know that this might sound like something normal for people from big countries, but this was really not something so common, not really common. It was not even an option in a public hospitals in Serbia.
Your own room, it was never.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, there are some of the rooms, but it's not. You would have to pay extra for that, or yeah. It was really not something common and something that you know that you can rely on. Like I'm now, a parent comes in a hospital with her or his kid, and they have nowhere to sleep.
Yeah.
They were sleeping actually on the chairs beside the bed, or they were even not allowed to stay with the kid. So this was really something that we have changed in all of these oncology departments in Serbia. But the oncology department now in Niš is the most modern hospital of this kind in Balkans.
Really?
And it's really it's official. And when you go when you come inside this hospital, the first impression that you have is that you are not inside the hospital, and it was really something that was our intention since the moment this idea came, that like can we build the whole new hospital in Serbia. It was at the beginning was really shy. Like the idea was really shy because we were not really sure that if this would be even possible. To. I mean, we can imagine, we can dream, but like to see it really making its way through, it was not so likable. I mean, so it didn't seem so possible at that moment.
And you said,
but when we started with the project, and when we presented it to the public in Serbia, to kids in schools, to young people at universities, in media, and among big companies and CEOs in big companies, we already at that moment we saw the huge potential that this idea has. I think that the biggest credits for this go to people in NURDOR who were there for at that time for 13 years, like giving the proof to people in Serbia that yes, it's really possible that we all do good things together, that there is no one who will with the impression of charity work and everything, who will steal your money. Yeah. It's not something that should be like a rule, and it's not something that I mean, but unfortunately a lot of people in Serbia have this impression, and that's why I say that the biggest credits go to people in NURDOR who really managed to destroy this bad image of charity work in Serbia. And now we like to say that the new hospital in Niš is now, I don't know the English word for svetionik. You know what it is? Lighthouse in a sea. Yeah. So yeah, we like to call the new hospital like a lighthouse of this proof, and the lighthouse of the immense power of small people when they are gathered around the big and important idea. and it's really what it is.
Right.
Because what we know and what we have calculated really is that the state gave us around 250,000 euros for this hospital, and it was actually the way not to pay the value-added tax. So the value-added tax would be around 250,000 euros, and we had to pay this. But at the end, the state donated this amount. So it was
because value-added tax is 20%.
Yeah,
is that correct?
It was around 250,000
even on a donated
euros.
thing such as that.
Yeah,
that's a must.
It needs to be paid. 250,000 was donated by big companies, and the rest 250,000 and 250,000 from volunteering fundraising activities, and 250,000 from messages, from donations through
that's a significant amount. That's nice.
It's a huge amount, and it was it's even more important because it's those were the donations from regular people,
actual citizens of Serbia.
Whoever,
Yeah, that shows people care. And one other thing, you said you're organizing, there's a clinic coming up here soon that you're organizing. Where is that? And tell us a little bit about that.
You mean the new project that we were...
Yeah.
We are going to launch the project of building a new parent house in Belgrade. I mean, unfortunately, we have... each week we have kids, families who are approaching us asking for accommodation, and we have nowhere, no more room and no more free space. Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's a sad thing to hear.
It's really sad statistics, and it's something that we face on a weekly basis.
Wow.
We have calls from medical staff, from departments asking us that they have a new family and they need some place to stay, and we have to say no, because we have no free space. It also happens because. The shortest period of time that the cancer treatment can last it's around 1 year. So sometimes a kid and a family can be able to go home, for example, for 4 days or 3 days, and then they come back for therapy. So we have to save their room for someone for them, because they will come back, and it's really. We are always trying to make some arrangements and to help everyone who is in need, but we are really facing the fact that we are unable to do this with the capacities that we have. So what is important now it is to build a new house, which will be really big and with really large capacities, and where we can accommodate many families.
Like how many are you anticipating being able to help with that new house?
Well, we hope to be able to find a land or a building which is like devastated, and we will invest means to reconstruct it, and it should be big enough to accommodate up to 20 families. That is our goal. So it should be more than 800, 900 square meters. That is something that we are aiming at. We know that we will be able to gather the necessary amount of money, but now the largest problem is to find the land.
Property,
to find the property, or to find. As I said, it could be some old facility of some publicly owned company, or we already had this kind of researches in Belgrade. We found some properties, but it's really messy with all of the legal status of those facilities and everything. So we are really close to the idea to build something like from scratch. Yeah. So this will be the largest project of NURDOR, starting in 2019. We already have some base funds that we are going to start with, but we are going to have an intense campaign for this. We're going to have a lot of fundraising activities and calls for action from our people and from citizens of Belgrade, but also other cities in Serbia, because Belgrade is like the host of these families who will have the need to stay in the parent house, but they are actually coming from all parts of the country, because Belgrade is like the largest diagnostical center, and it's the only center in Serbia where kids can have zračenje. What's the word?
Chemotherapy with gamma rays, you know.
With gamma rays, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not even familiar.
That's only available in Belgrade.
Not intravenous, but it's...
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with any of that.
So there's a clear point why Belgrade is the most important place to build this new parent house with.
Is the Serbian government, when it comes to funding for things like this, how active is the Serbian government? Is NURDOR, not to be political here, of course, but is the Serbian government good at assisting things? For instance, this project that you're undertaking, is that something they've already agreed to assist with financially, or?
No, for that specific question, they did not agree. We were trying to get in touch with people from the city government and to ask for this for land or for some other facility that they could allow us to build the parent house in, but we still don't have any kind of arrangement with them. We didn't agree on some of these points. And that there is no really the real support coming from the city government for this project. But for some other projects of NURDOR, we do have support from government and then from institutions in Serbia who are entitled and who should actually care about the sick kids and the kids who need the rehabilitations and so on. There are some good examples and good practices, but what is really in some point disappointing and what is discouraging our work is that we always need to ask, and we always need to not only to ask, we ask, but then we need to pressure them, then we need to be present in the media, we need to talk about the necessities of kids with cancer, of their families. We need to be really like annoying in order to obtain some support. I always mention when it comes to this topic the question of sick leave of parents whose kids is fighting cancer. Now the laws in Serbia only allow 4 months of leave from work for a parent. It's paid 65% of the salary. But as I said, the shortest period of time for treating children cancer is 1 year. So after 4 months, the employer is totally free to
terminate.
To terminate the agreement and to leave the parent without job and without any financial stability for the family.
So I bet a lot of families give up. I mean, they couldn't afford to lose their jobs, you know.
Yes,
wow.
Of course. We also know from parents from the board of NURDOR that they stayed, they got fired from work when they during the treatment of the kid. Yeah. And that's something that needs to be changed, like fundamentally changed. That's the part of the system which is really dysfunctional, like completely. When you have a family in this situation, and what they need the most is stability, and of course, and the financial stability, and the thing that they don't have to worry about tomorrow, what will they eat, and then how they will pay bills and everything. They need to worry about the life of their kid.
Certainly.
And what situation do we have, like that the state actually gives completely free hands. It's the Serbian expression. I don't know if there is in English. Free hands to the employer to
terminate whatever.
To terminate.
I think in the USA we have an issue also with that. Like family medical leave was something that was tried to push through. I don't think ours is 4 months. I don't know. I think that's an issue also in the USA. You know, it seems like that should be a bipartisan. I mean, we have two. That seems like something both parties could agree that you shouldn't penalize a family who's struggling with the sickness in the family. You know, I don't get it either. You know.
Yeah.
Last but not least, here, when we talk about getting money for your organization, you said a lot of it comes from the citizens here, people who are watching that want to assist you. How can people assist you here financially? If people want to donate money, what's the best way to reach you folks?
As I assume that your viewers are from a different parts of the world. Since recently we have an option of PayPal.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so now
I'll put that in the description here, folks,
cool.
if you're watching.
Now it's possible to donate via PayPal. We have a banner in our, I don't know, again, like a button on our website where you can click, and it leads you directly to the PayPal form, and you can donate from any part of the world. Also, for people in Serbia, we have our bank account details also available on our website. They can always do any kind of volunteering activities or any kind of fundraising activities. We always really like to support and to be a part of fundraising activities which are like invented and supported and initiated by people on locals, like from locals, and because we really.
Is that common? I mean, people.
It is more or less common. We have some really good and nice examples. We always like to include young people in this, and to let them like be creative and to motivate their people living in their cities, in their local communities.
Grassroots effort.
That's really important. Yeah.
Nice. Well, wonderful. Well, folks, I'm going to expect each and every one of you to donate something to this organization. You know, an organization is actually trying to make a difference in the lives, touch these people who are going through the worst possible thing you could ever imagine. You know, young lady, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you too.
Is there any last things you wanted to mention that we did not cover here that would be?
I think that we actually covered all of the main subjects of the work of NURDOR. What I would also like to mention is that people always have this feeling that you help those who are in need and you give something to them, and that is correct. But when you actually do this, when you go you take this step and you help someone, then you actually experience something that was maybe unexpected, and that's the fact how much do you get from that.
Sure.
So
it's not just
really,
giving, it's receiving.
It's really receiving, and in the time when you start doing this frequently, you actually realize that what you receive is much more than you could ever give. So also important to realize during this process that we are actually all part of one same group, and sometimes you will be the one who helps, the other time you will be the one who needs help and who receives help, and it's really important that we spin this wheel, and then you will see how much we can do together.
Very true. Absolutely beautiful words. That's it, my friends. Do widzenia.